Salutations to all our future judges. In this video, we are going to see Indian Evidence Act 1872. But before going into the video, I'd like to make few requests to our viewers as well as the subscribers. Kindly do not skip the video. Watch the video from the beginning till the end. If you skip in between, you may be missing very crucial information or very crucial aspects which have been explained. Hence, watch from the beginning till the end. And next request is, please do have a notebook and a pen with you, because various questions which have been asked in Evidence Act in various exams would be mentioned or would be stated. And in addition to this, idea would be given as to how questions could be framed in a particular section. It is very important for you. So you all need to make a note of all these aspects. And in addition to this, some additional illustrations would also be given while teaching the act. Hence, you please make a note of all those additional illustrations as well. They would be of absolute help to you in understanding the particular section. And in addition to this, various ways or techniques would be taught which would help you to remember those sections, or to say some memory techniques would be given. This would be really helpful to you in remembering the sections when you go to the exam. I hope this video would be of absolute and great utility to you. Chapter 5 of Documentary Evidence. Section 61. Proof of contents of documents. The contents of documents can be proved by producing that document. That is one option. Now, what we are going to see is the contents of documents can be proved either by primary evidence or by secondary evidence. Now, let us see section 62. Primary evidence. What is a primary evidence? When a document is directly produced in the court, that document is a primary evidence because it is being produced in the court for the inspection by the court. Explanation 1. So, imagine a situation where the document is executed in 5 parts. In that case, each part is primary evidence of the document. So each and every part is considered to be primary. Where a document is executed in counterparts, let me try to explain what is this counterpart. Imagine there are 3 people. One is staying in America, one is staying in Japan, one is staying in India. So all these people join together and they enter into an agreement. So what they do is, the Japan person takes a printout of the document in Japan, and the US person, the American, takes a printout of the document in America, and the Indian person takes printout of the document in India, and all the 3 sign those documents. But you would obviously know the document in which Indian has signed will not contain the sign of Japanese or American, and the document of American will not contain the signature of Japanese or Indian. And obviously, the document of Japanese will not contain the signature of Indian and American. However, they will enter a clause, they will insert a clause in that particular agreement saying that if this agreement is executed in counterparts, each and every document or each and every counterpart is primary evidence against the parties who are executing it. So that is very important. Let us move to explanation 2, where there are number of documents which are made in one uniform process. Imagine a book is being printed, or any document or any notice or any intimation or any agreement which is being signed made out of a uniform process. So in that case, each is a primary evidence with respect to the contents of the rest. But the very important thing is, it is not a primary evidence with respect to the original from where the contents have been taken. Let me try to explain this in a simple manner. As you all know, due to this COVID pandemic, various intimations were made to the public. So what they do is they draft it. It will be generally handwritten. So after this handwritten part is completed with respect to the notices or bills, this is being printed using a DTP. They make a printout of this, or they take a print from a printing press, and then it is distributed to each and every one. So each and every copy which is printed and distributed in itself is a primary evidence with respect to the other notices which were printed. However, this printout will not be a primary evidence for the handwritten draft. That is what they are trying to say. They are not primary evidence of the contents of the original. That is very important. They are given an illustration. Let us see what is that illustration. A person is shown to have been in possession of a number of placards. He is having plenty of placards, and all of these placards have been printed at one time from one original. So each and every placard is considered to be a primary evidence of its own, but not of the original. Imagine they have printed 1000 placards. So in that case, if you pick one placard out of these 1000, that one placard is a primary evidence of other 99 placards which are printed. However, this one placard will not be a primary evidence of the contents of the original. The original draft from which this placard was made, or the original placard from which these copies were made. Now, let us move to section 63, which is secondary evidence. Secondary evidence means and includes. So, what are all the things which are covered under secondary evidence? First one is when a certified copy is given based on the following provisions. One. So, the next one is there is some original using a mechanical process. They make copies, and that process is very reliable. So this process itself ensures the accuracy of the copy. So in that case, it becomes a secondary evidence. And when such copies are made, there are other copies which are compared with this copies made from mechanical process. Then in that case also, it becomes a secondary evidence. Now, third point, copies made from or compared with the original. There is original and we make copies from that, or the copies which are compared with the original. So all these are secondary evidence. The fourth point, counterparts of documents as against the parties who did not execute them. Imagine there is a counterpart of a document and that has not been executed by a person. If this counterpart of documents is used against the party who is not executing them, then in that case, that counterpart of the document is considered to be a secondary evidence. The fifth point is oral accounts of the contents of a document given by some person who has himself seen it. That is very important in this particular point. Imagine a person seeing a document when it is being prepared or when it is being signed. He has read all those documents. Then in that case, he is giving some evidence, oral evidence. So in that case, that obviously becomes a secondary evidence. There are some illustrations given. Let us see what are all those illustrations. A photograph of an original is secondary evidence of its contents. So a simple thing is, if they take a photograph of an original, there is a document and somebody is taking a photo of it, then that photo is secondary evidence of its contents, though the two have not been compared. It is obvious fact that somebody is taking a photo of a document and producing it in the court. Then in that case, the photo and the document has not been compared. That is a fact. But if it is proved that the thing photographed was the original, but the very important thing is, they should prove that the photographed thing was the original. The document from which they took the photo is the original. They have to prove this. They need not produce the document, but they should prove that the photo was taken from that particular original. They should produce evidences or whatever is required to prove that. Next, illustration B. A copy compared with a copy of letter made by copying machine. So, as simple as that, there is a copying machine from which a copy of the letter is taken. Now, another copy is also there. That copy is compared with the copy of the letter made by a copying machine. It is a secondary evidence of the contents of the letter. With respect to the contents of the letter, this copy is a secondary evidence. If it is shown that the copy made by the copying machine was made from the original. So what they have to prove is, they are taking the original to a copying machine, they are keeping in that, they are taking a copy. So what they should prove is, the particular document which was kept in the machine or the copying machine was a original. Let us move to example C. A copy transcribed from a copy, but afterwards compared to the original, is secondary evidence. So imagine there is a document. Somebody has taken a copy of it. From that copy, a person is writing it. The contents are being written, handwritten. So in that case, this transcribed version, that is the handwritten version, is compared with the original. So in that case, this transcribed version is a secondary evidence. But the copy not so compared is not secondary evidence of the original. There are two things. Original is there. They take a copy from that original. From that copy, they handwrite all the contents of that particular copy, and that handwritten thing is compared with the original, then it becomes secondary evidence. However, the copy which was taken using that original is not compared with the original. So in that case, that cannot be a secondary evidence, although the copy from which it was transcribed was compared with the original. Next, illustration D. Neither an oral account of a copy compared with the original. So there is a copy which is compared with the original. With respect to that, a oral account is given. Orally someone is saying about that particular copy. Nor an oral account of a photograph or machine copy of the original is secondary evidence of the original. So an oral account of a copy is given compared to the original. There is an original and they make a copy of it. They compare it to the original, and with respect to this copy, someone is giving a oral evidence, or someone is giving oral evidence about the photograph of that particular document or original, or machine copy of the original. In all these cases, it is not a secondary evidence of the original. Let us move to section 64. Proof of documents by primary evidence. Documents always can be proved only by producing those documents. Generally, if anyone has to prove a document, then he needs to produce that particular document to the court. Documents must be proved by primary evidence. Simple. Except in the cases hereinafter mentioned. There are some cases when you need not produce the document itself. That has been explained in the forthcoming sections. I hope you would have liked the video. If you like the video, please do press the thumbs up button and do share the video with your friends and motivate them. If you are not subscribed the channel, please do subscribe the channel and share the channel with your friends. If you feel that I've left something in this video, or you want me to change the way in explanations are given for the sections, please do let me know by way of comments. Let us join hands together and contribute for a learned society. Thank you.